So you guys know I don't like giving you guys a lot of fluff, so I'm not gonna sit here and fucking give you this crazy long story and all of this bullshit. I'm really just gonna jump right into this. So if you guys are good with that, we're gonna start now. How do I invest in a business with no money to open one, starting from scratch with limited income? I know a lot of you have the same question. A lot of you may not have a lot of capital to start a business up, and you're trying to build one from scratch at the very fucking bottom, and you don't have many resources, and you don't have many people in your corner, you don't have much money to start with. You might work a 9 to 5 job. If you do work a 9 to 5 job, you're probably not getting paid that much fucking money to start a business on the side outside of paying for your bills, buying food, taking care of your family, taking care of your lifestyle, putting a roof over your head, and so on and so forth. So how do you start a business with no money to open one? This is fucking great. If you have Wi-Fi, you have enough you need to start a business. The reason why I say that is because if you have Wi-Fi, you can connect with people all over the world. Now, the people that you want to connect with all over the world have different skill sets, they have different resources, they have different levels of capital. You can utilize these things and broker situations in between these people to make money. Here's an example of that. If I don't have a particular skill set where I feel like I can make money immediately, the first thing I'm doing, and one of my biggest actual strengths of mine personally, is sales. Now, if I were you, I would go to fuck on YouTube and look up every sales video in the world. And sales has a lot to do with psychology. So if you understand psychology and you understand human behavior, you're gonna be able to understand sales. And if you can understand sales, you'll never be fucking broke. You'll never have a situation where you have limited income or you don't have a way to create income. And here's an example of how to utilize something as strong as sales. If I have a friend and my friend is good at Photoshop, I can go and say, hey, friend, how much do you charge for Photoshop? If I wanted a logo, for example, they'll say, hey, I charge about $200 for a logo. I'll say, okay, great. Now my job with that logo in mind and my friend's business is to go and sell that service for $300 instead of $200. There's tons of people out there who would buy a good quality logo for $300, even $500. So now my job, knowing I have very little capital to invest, and I can't start a business right now because I don't have the resources I need, I do have the time that I would dedicate to that business. So instead of me utilizing the time in the initial portions or initial phase to build the business up, I'm going to utilize that time to go do sales to bring in more income. So that friend that I have who sells logos for $200, I'm going to go and sell his logos all over the fucking world with the same time I would have used to start the business for $300, $400, $500. And now I'm going to make that extra $100 to $200 in between that. Obviously, I'm going to let my friend know, bring him in on it. He's making money. He's making $200 per logo. I'm making money. I'm making $100 to $200, whatever I mark up on the price per logo. And after 10 sales, I got $2,000. After 100 sales, I got 20 grand. So now my goal and my target is to sell 100 to 1,000 people a $200 to $300 logo. And that's how you make money. And that's how I now have $20,000 to $200,000 to go invest into the business I want on top of the income that I make from my work. Now, if you find that the income you make on the side selling this logo for your friend far exceeds the income you make from your 9 to 5, you can quit the 9 to 5 at this point as long as it can handle your bills and still be profitable, and then transition into that full-time sales so that you can increase as well. And then you can hire a team and build a team around that. But that's an example. If I were you and I had very little to no money to start a business, I would go straight into sales because you can control how much money you make when you're in a situation such as sales. That's exactly what I would do if I had nowhere to start, if I had nothing going on. I would literally find someone who has some sort of product or service that I could sell for them. I would learn human behavior. I would learn psychology because you're going to need it for your business anyway. So you might as well get to learning it now. If you want to know anything, if you want to know how to make money, the only way to start and build a fucking strong business is to know how to sell and bring in money for that business. If you can't bring in money, the business is dead. Money is the lifeblood of your business. If there is no money, there is no business. So you're gonna have to learn how to make money in the business. What sites do you recommend to sell logos? You don't need a site. You can go and create a Fiverr account. You can create an Upwork account. You can create a fucking Craigslist ad. You can do all of those fun things. But what I would do if I'm going to go sell logos and I need to make money now, I'm going to go directly to my consumers and I'm going to go on Instagram. I'm going to send out 1,000 fucking comments, but my comments aren't going to be this aggressive. hey, buy a logo for me now, right? This is where psychology, human behavior, and emotional intelligence plays a vital role in this sales process. If you go into it like, hey, buy a logo for me now, you're gonna be like, fuck you. You need to go into it and build real relationships. And I think Salma is in here, and I think Alicia might be in here, which I'm hoping you guys are. And if you are in here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You go into the Instagram DMs, you go into the Instagram comments, and you start engaging with people and building relationships. How can a beginner learn how to sell and where to start from? So, great question. Look, there's a ton of people online. My favorite book that I utilize for sales is called Ultimate Sales Machine. And in Ultimate Sales Machine, it teaches you how to create pig-headed discipline. It also teaches you creative ways to get someone's attention if you're trying to sell someone on anything. But it's personally my favorite book. I read it at least once a year. Outside of Ultimate Sales Machine, I go into a lot of mindset. You can read and watch videos on Jordan Peterson. You can watch videos on Zig Ziglar. You can watch tons of different online lectures from Harvard, Stanford. Look, people don't take advantage of that. Harvard University, Stanford, MIT, all of these great Ivy League colleges all put free lectures on YouTube or online or on iTunes University or whatever, and it's fucking free. So if you want information, you can go there to find it. But the first areas that I would target would be human behavior. Start building up your emotional intelligence and understand psychology. You need to understand how people perceive information and how people communicate. If you don't understand how people communicate and being able to pick up those micro cues that people give off, 80% of communication is nonverbal. If you can't pick up what they're really saying and read between the lines, it's going to be much harder for you to sell. So what I would learn, and the first things I would do, is going to human behavior, emotional intelligence, and picking up those things. If I wanted to start an online fitness personal training business, the first few things I would do is try to package up to the biggest package that I could sell, find where that audience is who's buying it, and I would sell it to them. If you take a gym, for example, like Equinox or whatever, I would retarget Equinox. Why would I retarget Equinox? Because Equinox has a higher caliber person who has a different type of income purchasing their membership program. If I go to a Planet Fitness charges what, $10 a month, something like that starting? If I go to Equinox, Equinox charges me like 120 bucks a month, which tells me the type of person that goes to Equinox and trains is the type of person who could buy a bigger package. So what I would do is I would lay out my foundation. I'll create online videos. I would create a ton of online free value, and then I would go and retarget on Facebook ads or something like that, or even the comment section on Equinox's Instagram page or Facebook page, and I would bring people into my online business. Have you read any of Robert Greene's books, 48 Laws of Power, Laws of Human Nature, 33 Strategies of War, Mastery, etc.? I actually have read all of those books, which is fucking crazy because Laws of Human Nature is like an insane Bible. It's like fucking 500 pages or something ridiculous. So, yes, I love Robert Greene's book. Robert Greene really talks about a lot of things in regards to human nature and human behavior, which is kind of what we were discussing earlier. If you want to know sales, those are great fucking books. Robert Greene is a great author. He actually consults a lot of high-level business owners, politicians, presidents, so on and so forth. So if you want to learn about sales and you want to learn how to maneuver through different things, whether it's sales, operating a business, or just dealing with people, which everything in the world has to do with dealing with people, Robert Greene is definitely one of my highly recommended book authors. I recommend all of his books. 48 Laws of Power is great. Laws of Human Nature is great. 33 Strategies of War. I know you guys went through my Death Ground strategy training. Let me know how you feel about that below in the comments. But with the Death Ground strategy, I used to utilize this strategy in my own way growing up. And then I read 33 Strategies of War and realized I wasn't the only fucking person who utilized something like this to create urgency in their life. Robert Greene actually talks about this in his book. I want to say, don't quote me, it's the second strategy in here for 33 Strategies of War. He doesn't go into a situation like I've presented to you guys. That situation is a personal customized thing that I utilize, which is imagine the person you love the most in the world has a gun to their head, they're kidnapped, and you have to utilize the current skills you have in order to accomplish whatever your goals are in a very short period of time. That's something custom to me, but the strategy and the name of the strategy actually came from 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene. So if you like that strategy, I highly recommend you following up and reading Robert Greene's book. Another book that would help with this. It's called The Prince by Nikolai Machiavelli. The Prince is being pretty much someone who is in a position to acquire power and how to utilize the transition into that power and leveraging these things and knowing how to maneuver, who's coming after you, who wants what from you, how to pick these things up, and how to defend your kingdom or your power, so to speak. How can I make myself continue to be motivated in school? Solutions. You know what, Leslie? I fucking appreciate you writing your solutions in here because that's exactly what I wanted everyone to do. I wanted everyone to go in and create this 3 solutions for whatever questions they had. The reason why that's important is because I don't want you guys to be codependent upon me. I want you guys to be independent and be able to think for yourselves and go into solutions intuitively. I want you guys to be able to be proactive. I want you guys to be results driven. I want you guys to be able to say, you know what? Anytime I have a problem, obstacle, or challenge, I'm immediately going into solutions. Because if you can do that on a day-to-day, you're conditioning and training yourself to look for those solutions, which we talked about perspective and why perspective was important. You look for problems, you're only going to find problems. You look for solutions, you're going to get solutions. Your solutions were, my friends would encourage me. I would feel pressured to get the future I want. I could have a goal list and try to achieve them. I like that. If it comes down to trying to stay motivated in school, I went over this in the videos and I'll talk to you guys a little bit about this. For me, it's less about motivation. It's more about discipline. But if I'm going to push towards motivation, your why, right? We talked about that. If your why is strong enough, you're going to be able to utilize that as an anchor and hold on to that when you're trying to get up for school in the morning, when you're trying to pursue the school. You also have to understand the end goal. What's the end goal and getting clear on that? You want to go to school for what? What's the purpose? Do you want to go to school so you can get a degree, so you can be a doctor, nurse, or lawyer, or whatever, so that you can provide a certain type of lifestyle for your family? Do you want to get into that so you can make a great impact and be a surgeon and help people heal? What exactly is the reason why you want to go to school? And then hold on to that why and utilize that as your anchor, and then create discipline. So, and those disciplines come from that decision to make those small day-to-day actions, whether it's getting out of bed, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's eating clean, whether it's studying an hour a day, whatever it is. And that'll start building the momentum you need to create the discipline you want in order to accomplish your goal, which is being motivated in school. Why is it always so difficult to take that one life-changing step? This is a great fucking question. The reason why is because you're biased. You have your own biases. You give yourself fucking every excuse in the book. You say, you know what? Yeah, I could change this if I wanted to. Yeah, I could do this later. Yeah, this is kind of hard for me or whatever. What I want you to do is utilize this tool very much like the death ground strategy. I want you to think about the person you love the most in the world. Everyone in this chat, there's over 100 of you in this chat group right now. If you're having a problem taking that first life-changing step, I want you to stop whatever the fuck you're doing right now, and I want you to really think and sit in on this, because this changed a lot of the way I operate in my day-to-day life. Moving on from that, how do you now, with knowing that you're biased with your own life, move forward? What I like to utilize is the death ground strategy in a different way. The new way to take the death ground strategy and utilize that for yourself is utilizing it in a way where instead of someone being kidnapped and now they're held for ransom, where you gotta fucking come up with a crazy amount of money in a very short period of time. Now I want you to take that strategy and imagine that the person that you love the most in the world, that you would take a bullet for in the world, that you utilize for your death ground strategy, is coming to you for advice. And this person is coming to you asking you, hey, how do I take that first life-changing step? And now I want you to give them advice. I want you to really break down a strategy and a plan for the person that you love most in the world, who just came to you and asked you with every fucking ounce of purity and fucking genuineness that they have. They asked you, how do I change or take this one life-changing step? And I want you to break down a real fucking action plan for them. Your action plan might be like, just fucking go for it. Just do this. Just make this roadmap. Create a 3-2-1 plan. Go watch Lewis's bootcamp videos. Whatever the fuck it is. The point is, you're going to give them all of these actionable steps. And you're going to really break down a real fucking plan for them. Now what I want you to do is utilize that plan for yourself. Take that plan you just created for them and take your own advice and utilize that plan. But you really have to dive deep. And you have to dive deep right now because this is the person you love most in the world. You don't want them to fucking fail. You want them to succeed. In order for them to succeed, you're going to break down a real fucking plan for them to succeed because you're not biased any longer. Your biases aren't controlling you. You're trying your fucking best to get them from point A to point B because they're coming to you lost. They need help. And you're giving them everything you fucking got for them to get to the other side of that. But now I want you to utilize that for yourself. Now I want you to take your own advice and that action plan that you just broke down, I want you to use that for you. If it's your children, think if my kid came to me and asked me, if my daughters came to me and said, Dad, I need help taking that first life-changing step, I'm going to give them all fucking sorts of resources and game plans and strategies and tools because I want them to fucking win. And if I want them to win, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to give them excuses. I'm not going to allow them to give me excuses. This is another level to this. If they come to me and they say, oh, but it's hard. Oh, but I don't have money. I don't have enough capital. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough resource. All these fucking excuses that could be valid as fuck. But if they give me those excuses, you think I'm going to let them run with those excuses? Fuck no. I'm going to be like, look, baby, this is what you got to do. This is how you do 1, 2, and 3. This is how you maneuver against that. If you're not motivated, this is how you get motivated. If you don't have discipline, this is how you get discipline. You don't have a fucking why, here, let's make fucking whys. And I'm going to give them everything I can because I know the last thing I'm going to do is allow them to give me an excuse and cop out. And then all you got to do now is take that plan you just gave them and utilize that for yourself. So that's what my advice is on how to take that first life-changing step. It's difficult because you're biased. Remove your biases, put it and utilize the death ground strategy with someone you love the most. Give them the advice, and that's how you take your own advice. And I know some of you guys probably give the best fucking advice to your friends, family, loved ones, whatever. That's how you take your own advice. What's the hardest aspect of starting any business, in your opinion, for a newbie? The hardest aspect is getting out of your own way. People self-sabotage every fucking day. You want to be a great business owner? Stop overthinking and stop fucking up and self-sabotaging yourself. The way you self-sabotage is by convincing yourself that you shouldn't do 1, 2, and 3. You should wait a little longer. You should not take action now. Doing all of that shit is fucking you up right now. The hardest part or aspect of starting any business, in my opinion, for a newbie is not understanding you need a team, is not seeking help where you need, is not getting out of your own way and self-sabotaging and stop overthinking. You're going to keep overthinking and fucking yourself up? You're going to give excuses? Are you going to give these same excuses to your children? Are you going to give these same excuses to your mom or dad who need help? You're not going to give them fucking excuses. You're going to take actions. That's what leaders do. In our wolf pack, you are a fucking leader. I don't refer to my team as employees. We raise leaders. My team builds and raises leaders. There is no fucking employees because I don't want employees. Employees have a one-track mindset. I want leaders who are going to take action and move up to the next fucking level. Overthinking is where I struggled this week. Do you have any advice on how to shift my mindset on live and moving forward? My advice for overthinking is to fucking jump. It's that fucking simple. Now, it's a lot harder than it sounds, and I know that. But you have to start jumping and pushing yourself. You have to start creating different experiences that's going to give you the confidence you need to know yourself that even if you go, as long as it's not a life and death situation. Let me be clear on that. And let me tell you this again. As long as it is not a life and death situation, jump. Because when you jump and when you move into the next area, when you move into that next phase, you're going to gain all of these experiences and these points of references where you can then refer to. You're going to know that you're able to pull yourself out of the situation. Even if it goes to shit, you can still pull yourself out and adapt and move and keep going. You need to jump. You need to get as many points of references. You need to gain as many experiences as like networking. You need to go and network more if you want to be good at networking. You need to go and jump if you want to stop overthinking. You need to take action in order to cure overthinking. Action cures a lot of fucking shit. Take action, and that will help you stop overthinking. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for everything. Thanks for coming. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for joining. Thanks for taking the time out of your fucking day. I know you're busy. I know you could be doing 1,000 fucking things right now, but you're sitting here investing your time and energy into yourself. into this program, into our pack, into our family. So thank you for showing up. And I will fucking talk to you guys soon. Remember, no sympathy for the lazy. Take fucking action today. Make this shit worth it.